All right. So again, welcome everyone to our info meeting for our ALLE Ambassador Program. I'm so excited for you to be here to learn more about the program that we're doing. We're going to start off with introductions of the steering committee. And the steering committee are individuals that are putting their passion, their dedication, and their time into planning this and executing this program. And so I just want all of us to take turns introducing ourselves, our name, where we work, what we do, and sorry, I'm letting somebody in. And that's it. Where you work, what you do, and your name. So I'll go ahead and start. My name is Sandy Pricer. I'm the CEO founder of Rise Up Cooperative, and we provide life and leadership workshops. And steering committee, just take turns jumping in and introduce yourself.
I'm Cynthia Brown. I'm with Sister Sue Care. We provide life skills, job skills. We also work with Widows Ministry and just do general outreach to the community. We have a Christian Women's Job Corps as well.
Hi, I'm Melinda Pilata. I am with the Zach Missouri Foundation. I'm the president and founder. Zach was my oldest son who was called to heaven almost 10 years ago. The purpose of our organization is to raise awareness of the dangers of substance abuse and addiction.
I guess I'll go next. My name is Timothy Machado, and I'm the FJC Prevention Coordinator at the Chattanooga-Hamilton County Family Justice Center. And I'm currently leading a program that uses the curriculum from A Call to Men to reach out to men of all ages in the Chattanooga-Hamilton County area and help them see how they can play a part in reducing interpersonal or intimate partner violence in our neighborhoods and in their own relationships, wherever they may be, and help them see, again, where they can play that role and also help others see how they can play their part. So a lot of mentorship and helping men help men. So that's my primary role there.
I'm Tom Bissonette, excuse me, and I'm in my recliner, so I'm going to try to stay awake for the meeting, but I'm pumped enough that shouldn't be too difficult. It's been a long day, though. My daughter broke her leg, and she's an adult, but we have been assisting her all day long. So, but what I do, I'm retired from UTC. I was faculty and a counselor there. And since retirement, I founded a nonprofit called Young and Wiser. And just as the name suggests, the idea is to help youth understand more about themselves, including teens and 20-somethings. And then during my time as a faculty, I taught adolescent and young adult development for like 20 years. So out of that, I came up with a model for youth development that helps them understand their own developmental challenges and also their vulnerabilities, so that, for example, in the ambassador program that we're doing, in order to be strong leaders, they're going to have to know there's sort of spots that, you know, their own sort of own chinks in their own armor, if you will, so that they will be self-aware and therefore be able to lead others more effectively.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Athalon. I am the Youth Education Manager for a program called River City Youth Collective. And our program really focuses on youth that have been affected by the foster care system, being a resource for those youth.
Good evening, everyone. I am Amber Reeves. I work with Northside Neighborhood House. I am our Chief Education Officer and have the absolute privilege of walking along the side of 10, with Hamilton County, for 10 of our schools in the district and providing a community school coordinator in our Hickson, Soddy, Red Bank, and Sail Creek area schools.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for introducing yourselves. So now you know who your steering committee is, who is putting together this program for our juniors and seniors within our schools or homeschooled, and we'll go into that a little bit more. But what I wanted to do or ask real fast too, if you have any questions, if you could throw it in the chat while we explain our different parts. And then at the end, we're going to have a question and answer session, and that's distracting. Sorry, do you guys hear that buzzing, or is it just me? Okay, so, and we will address any questions in the chat during the question and answer at the end. So we would like to now each of us take turns. Trying to figure out who that is to try to, I think that helped. Okay. We're gonna each take turns and share a little bit about our training sessions. To give you a little bit more insight on what we're doing. So first, Timothy and I are kind of tackling together emotional intelligence and leadership. And I was going to jump in and just tell you guys what the Oxford Dictionary defines emotional intelligence as. And it's the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions and to handle interpersonal relationships empathetically. So having a healthy identity and understanding yourself is crucial to having working relationships. So in our session, we're going to teach the teens how to be emotionally intelligent, how to be leaders, and how to be an upstander. So all of that completely connects and correlates with each other, and we're going to teach them how. And I'm going to let Timothy jump in with the rest of that.
Yeah, so I think we totally understand whenever we experience a leader who doesn't quite connect, doesn't quite understand who they're working with, there's usually a bit of a breakdown in teamwork, goals aren't being met. But whenever we do have a leader that has those strong interpersonal skills, they understand what makes their team members unique. Those are the leaders that we recognize that make a difference. And so a leader that can empathize, can communicate well, can form strong bonds within their team, those are the best leaders. And that's something that we're hoping to teach students that are part of the program and really help them see that being a leader doesn't come with a title. It doesn't come just because you have prestige or the longest resume. Being a leader is something that you can do wherever you are, within your friends, within your family. And ultimately, that will impact your community, but it doesn't have to start way at the top. You can start small and grow as a leader from there. So that's a really big and really the essence of what we hope to teach in our portion of the program.
Absolutely. Thank you, Timothy. What I forgot to mention before I jumped into that is there are 6 sessions that we're going to teach on, and there's some additional things that they're going to have an opportunity to do that one of us is going to describe or give more details on later. So there's 6 of these. So we're the first one, and I would love for, I have it written down, Tom to briefly explain his next.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. My session, and I'll have partners working with me, but the main idea of, or the main focus of my session is again to help youth understand their own development. And we have many models about adolescent and young adult development, but most of them look at the development of youth as happening in stages. And normal is the degree to which we coincide to that model at that stage. And in my work with really lots of people of all ages, I found that nobody perfectly fits any of those stages in the classic models. So what I have done is develop an instrument where they can do a self-assessment and they can figure out where they are compared to their cohorts, in other words, their peer group, and they can decide whether they feel that they are ahead or behind their peers, and even ahead or behind their own idea of where their development should be. And once they know that, it really opens up their eyes because, for example, let's say one of our ambassadors is trying to uh, influence another person, but the ambassador has themselves kind of a shortcoming or a deficit in their own social life. And they're kind of, needing other people. Well, it's important to know that because if we're in that situation and we're trying to be assertive or we're trying to maintain clear boundaries with someone that we're trying to mentor or help, then it can weaken our relationship. It can take away some of our effectiveness. And so what it really boils down to is asking students to look within and think about, and there's 8 different areas of development: cognitive, physical, emotional, social, um, career, educational, and academic. And one thing I want to point out is I have them assess their development academically, but also cognitively, because there's a big difference between academic performance and cognitive ability. All of you know who work with youth that some students do very well in school because they learn the skills that are necessary to thrive in an academic environment. But other youth may be very bright, even more intelligent, way above the average student, and yet they don't perform well in school for various reasons. So once that ambassador knows their strengths and weaknesses, then they can address those and all the while become a more effective leader. I hope that all makes sense.
Thank you, Tom. And they can definitely ask questions later, whether it be on here or offline too. Stephanie is next, and it doesn't look like Dina was able to join us tonight, but she's partnered with another one of our steering committee members. And Stephanie, take it away.
Well, hello, everyone. Me and Dina, our section is going to be on healthy relationships and teen dating violence. And we kind of broke that up in between the two of us. But the bystander committee is all about creating leaders within the community in this youth, and we can't instill those things, and if they don't really know what teen dating violence is, if they don't know what a healthy relationship looks like, how are they going to help their peers realize these things? So our whole goal in the first session is to talk about what teen dating violence is, how that affects our youth, making sure they understand those risk factors and how this can affect them, and then going into healthy relationships and what that looks like, whether it be red flags, green flags. We'll talk about the power and control wheel, and then we'll also talk about how healthy relationships aren't just about it's not about just partners. It's also about the friends you keep, the company you keep. So being able to recognize those red flags in all of the relationships they have. And that's pretty much the gist of what we'll be discussing.
Thank you, Stephanie. And Melinda, would you like to share your section, please?
Yes, hello, everyone. Pardon me. I do have a frog tonight, excuse me. There we go. In our session, we will be discussing substance abuse and addiction. That, as you know from reading the newspaper, we are at an epidemic level now. Just about everybody has been impacted somehow, some way, by either an overdose or an addiction. We want to discuss how that may happen, what substances are involved, why someone might turn to reach for a substance, what might be some other strategies to deal with that underlying need to reach out and try and experiment. Maybe it's pain, maybe it's peer pressure. There's so many different factors. I'd love to explore that with our group and develop strategies to come alongside those who are struggling, and also to understand what's going on inside themselves. Once you flip on that switch of addiction, as we know, it impacts your ability to be a good leader. It impacts your ability to make decisions. And we hope to provide a good foundation for a level of awareness amongst our soon-to-be leaders in the community, so they can protect themselves and also be a support to those in the community.
Thank you so much, Melinda. Now Stephanie is going to share a little bit about how it's set up, like what will the meetings be, et cetera, or in some regard, something like that. I'm just going to let you talk, Stephanie, and you share what we talked about you're going to share.
Okay, I have a couple of things to discuss. One of the things I want to talk about is how the cohort the pilot program and the cohort will be responsible for adding 4 additional topics. So like Sandy said, we have 6 topics between all of us that we're going to cover, but we didn't want it just to be information that we thought was relevant. We really wanted to use the pilot program to really bring some authentic engagement from the youth perspective and really see what topics they would want to cover or what they think that a true leader needs. So they'll have opportunity. Well, there'll be 4 sessions that these young adults will be able to kind of mold themselves and kind of tell us topics, whether it be around mental health, entrepreneurship, community service, whatever they want to discuss or bring together. We're really going to allow them to do that in those 4 sessions. And I really think that getting that input is going to be influential to the program itself. And then the difference between the pilot and the cohort, I also will discuss. So the pilot program is exactly what it sounds like. It's a pilot. So we're going to be utilizing a few youth and young adults in this pilot program that will kind of help us bring the shape of the cohort in August together. So like I said, we have ideas, we have things that we really want these young people to instill, but we really want to hear from our young adults who have the lived experience, the one that's going to be pushing this out to their peers. We really want them to have a handle on what we're putting out. So the cohort itself would be the result of the pilot. So the pilot is putting all the foundations together, and the cohort itself will be the launch of the actual ALLE program, where we'll invite those rising seniors and 11th graders to be part of that cohort. So hopefully that makes sense. And then a couple of dates to remind you about. So the pilot program will end in May. So we're going to do a celebration just to kind of thank those youth for being a part, kind of get their feedback. All community members are invited to attend that. And then the cohort itself, we're hoping to start in August. And they will have a holiday party December the 2nd, just to kind of bring them all together, invite some of their support systems, kind of just give them a chance to kind of let loose and have fun, seeing as how we'll be doing a lot of sessions where a lot of information will be kind of packed in. And then, Sandy, there was one other thing, the volunteer. I think there was one other thing that I was going to talk about, but I'm going to let you.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So there's also going to be a volunteer community outreach opportunity in the middle of the year. So that won't be for the pilot, but it'll be for the cohorts going forward. And the cohort itself gets to choose what that volunteer opportunity is. And then them as a cohort and the steering committee and any of their family members that want to join us will go out into the community together and do whatever it is that they had chosen to do for the community and giving back. Thank you for explaining that, Stephanie. Again, if you have any questions about anything that we're saying or sharing, drop it in the chat. We're happy to answer any of them, and we'll have the Q&A at the end. Next, I would love for Tom to share a little bit about the importance of the meetings and why attendance is so important.
Well, I think that obviously attendance is important in general, but I think particularly for this kind of activity, this kind of mission, really, for one thing, we're all learning as we go. So if you miss a session, then you're going to be sort of out of stride with the rest of the group. And when you take on something of this magnitude, we really do need each other. No one of us can carry this burden alone. So that's one reason. Another thing I want to say is that I have observed a tendency since COVID for people to not follow through on things consistently. And, you know, I could go into an hour-long lecture about the psychology of that, but I'll spare you that. But I'll just say that, for example, I do coaching, and, you know, before COVID, if somebody made an appointment for coaching, they would keep the appointment. Since COVID, I'm lucky if I get 1 out of 5. So basically, what I'm going to say here is that just the very act of showing up will show exceptional leadership for these ambassadors and for all of us. This is, somebody has to pick up the mantle and say, we can't let people who need help fall through the cracks. And it's an awesome responsibility, but you know, I've been involved in a lot of projects and a lot of things, and the ones that really work are the ones that people realize that they're not only trying to help people in the immediate sense, but they're playing the long game. They're going to have an impact on society, but that takes time to take hold. They're going to have an impact on their own personal growth. That also may happen quickly, it may happen slowly, but it does happen. So really, the biggest reason to show up and be consistent is the fact that we're all going to personally benefit from it. And in every way it helps other people, that's kind of a bonus.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. And Timothy, I would love to share more about the value of the program, what the kids are going to get from it. Basically, go over a one-pager that we put together. And Timothy, I'm prepared to share that one-pager unless you are. Would you like me to share my screen?
If you'd like to share it, that would be fine, yeah.
Sure. So
All right, so
that share?
yep,
Yeah.
see
Okay,
that.
perfect.
Yeah, so with students these days, we understand that time is of the essence. You already are probably involved in other groups in your school. You might have other obligations, to say the least, projects in school, homework, maybe other extracurricular activities. So we wanted to make sure that ALLE not only benefited you for the long term, like Tom was saying, gave you skills and leadership abilities that you'll use throughout your life, but we also wanted to bring benefits that are more immediately useful, especially as you're transitioning to that next step in your life, whether that's college or other post-secondary schooling. Um, we can help you with scholarship and college applications. A lot of schools and a lot of programs love to see students who are invested in their community, invested in themselves, and are taking proactive steps to improve themselves and those around them. So being a part of ALLE will greatly enhance any applications that you have because it shows a track record of your persistence and your energy to improve your own life and the lives of those in your community. In addition to that, many schools require students to have community service hours. So being a part of ALLE will give you an easy way to get those community service hours. And I know when I was in high school, that was a really big thing whenever I was considering going to college. So for many kids these days, I know that's a continuous need. And so we're happy to provide those as well. And of course, as we've discussed, leadership skills will be huge. Something that, like I kind of mentioned earlier, even if you don't see yourself as being the CEO of some company or being some higher up somewhere doing something, you can be a leader wherever you are. And so these skills will be useful no matter where you find yourself. And additionally, references and letters of recommendation. I remember being such a big thing because I didn't want to always ask that one uncle or always ask that one teacher who I had a class with 2 or 3 years ago because we were cool back then. It's like I would wanted to have a recommendation that came from someone who knew me, knew what I liked, knew about my skills and what I could bring to the table. And so that's something that we want to provide for the students a part of this program as well, are those good letters of recommendations and references as they apply for colleges, jobs, what have you, whatever helps them get to that next step. And of course, this will strengthen your ability to intervene in situations where others might not, because this will help you see those warning signs, whether it's teen dating violence or in yourself, you'll see, hey, I need to change something about what I'm doing if I want to be healthy, if I want to do better, achieve my goals. And it'll help you realize what you need to achieve your goals. It'll help you understand where your abilities lie, what your skills are, and what you can do to make them better. And so that's really the big perk, like a big group of what we hope to provide through ALLE. And this one pager, of course, covers that and more about what people can expect from the program, kind of gives a good, consolidated, high-level view of the program. So if you have any more questions or if you have others who would be interested in learning more, this would be a really good document to share. And of course, it has a QR code, so any students who are interested in applying, they can sign up through there. So I hope you understand a little bit more about what ALLE is all about and why it's something that is not only great for your future, but great for where you are now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Timothy. And I went ahead and dropped in the chat for those of you that are live with us tonight, the ALLE website. So it is alleambassadors.wixsite.com/ALLE-ambassadors. So you can check that out. That is where that one pager is that Timothy was just reading from, but it's also where you can find more information about our program, about our steering committee. There's an FAQ page on here. There's the application on here as well. So there are lots of things that you can find on our ALLE Ambassador website that might answer any additional questions that our information tonight hasn't shared with you. But before I open it up to question and answer time, I would like to do a brief summary of what we just kind of shared with you, but maybe fill in some things that we forgot to mention. The pilot program, like Stephanie mentioned, it is this spring. We are looking for juniors and seniors to help us establish, tweak, refine, put the teen's voice into this program. Again, it starts February 5th. It ends May 6th. It's going to meet on the first and third Mondays of every month, from 5 to 7. And we will be providing them dinner. We will be feeding them. So that in and of itself is a perk too. We'll be meeting at the Family Justice Center. You can find all that information online if you don't know where it is, etc. But there'll be, I think it's 6 or 8 sessions. I forgot to write that one down with the pilot. Again, they'll be helping us tweak. When the official cohort begins in August, we will be taking applications sometime in late spring, early summer, all the way through until August when the cohort starts. That cohort and then all of them after that are going to have 12 sessions, 6 of which are lessons that we just shared with you tonight. 4 of which they choose, like Stephanie mentioned, the volunteer opportunity, the graduation ceremony, and the holiday party. So those will also be the first and third Mondays of every month, with some exceptions if a holiday jumps in there or something, but we'll let the kids know about it in advance. But from 5 to 7, again, dinner provided. So we're going to feed these kids. Now I think I'm going to stop screen sharing and I'm going to let anybody ask any questions that they might have about this program. And if you don't want to say it out loud, again, you can drop it in the chat. Or also steering committee, if there's anything that you're like, ooh, we forgot to add this, jump in and share that information as well.
I was gonna hop in real quick, and I don't know if we emphasized it enough, but the program is free to join. So unlike other programs and other, sports or other things that happen in school, this is free. And so all the benefits that we mentioned earlier, all free.
Good point.
And especially getting to network with a variety of different professionals in the community, connect with different organizations in the community, even if someone isn't quite interested necessarily in our fields, it's still great to build up your professional network. So that's just a unique opportunity in itself that I know I would have loved back in high school.
Absolutely. Great points. Thank you, Timothy. All right. If there are no questions right now, that's okay. If you have some later, you can email us also. On that website that I gave you is an email address that all the steering committee has access to, and one of us will respond to you. We also have a Facebook page. Again, the email address is on there. So we're not hard to get in contact with. So if anything comes to mind, or if you think of a youth in your life that's a junior or senior that is interested in joining or applying for our ALLE Ambassador program, please send them our information or us. I'm tongue-tied, guys, but you know what I'm trying to say. All right. I don't want to keep you guys any longer if there aren't any questions. I greatly appreciate everyone's time and allowing us to share with you tonight on our ALLE Ambassador program. It's been a huge, amazing project that we're excited to see really come to fruition finally, and how it's going to impact the future generation is exciting to see. So thank you for listening.
Hold on just a second. I
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
get some input.
Sure. Sorry, Tom. Yes, sir.
I just thought of this, sorry. But all of you who are participating right now know people in the school system, like counselors and teachers and administrators. And hopefully you can tell them about ALLE and help us recruit students and help us get faculty on board as well. It's gonna take a comprehensive effort, and we can't really help students if we don't have the schools on board.
That's a really good point. Thank you so much, Tom. If you guys can help spread the word on what we're doing, get the kids involved, we would love that. And I know it might take some time because it's a brand new program, but I think with the fact that there are 5 different organizations, that some of which are more well-known than others, really gives it the credibility that despite being new, people might want. So, all right. If there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. I thought I was going to stop recording. I don't know where that button is. There it is.